So BTC trading at 90K after a really interesting weekend pump. We had Trump announcing some news this weekend. Now we're going to see today, are we going to actually get this follow through, or are these guys pulling it all the way back down? So we got tons to talk about. There's also another announcement that he is threatening to make a little bit later today, and then another one coming up tomorrow. And we also have the crypto summit on Friday. So there's lots of Trump news this week. Let's see how we're going to dance around all of this stuff, guys. We've got so much to talk about on Monday. Let's get right into it. And remember, guys, as always, hit the like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. You know what to do. And then I've got my indicator guy here today. You know, Chaos, the absolute legend. He is here straight out of Hackers, doing things he missed last week, but he was very sad about that. But nice to have him back. And actually good timing here, because we need to know, are we getting short-term reversals? And is this pump from yesterday sustainable? So we're going to ask him all these questions and see what the indicators are telling us. Then we got James in the house. James is going to comment on a couple of things here today. We're going to pull him in. He's got a couple of Trump comments. We're going to see what he has to say. So let's go. Let's see what's happening here. So Celestia, absolute shitcoin, minus 14%. Is that a full retrace of the pump? We are sort of getting to borderline situations now on some of these alts at the moment. And I noticed some of these meme coins like Popcat and things like that are really starting to put people under a bit of pressure at the moment. So things are bleeding down a little bit. Market looking overall pretty red and miserable, which is a far cry from where we were yesterday, feeling super nice and bullish. I would say a little bit euphoric. So we are moving into an interesting moment now where we might be getting some short-term reversals on these alts after a massive bleed out. So make sure you are sticking around here, because we got some potential bangers coming in hot for you guys. So let's go BTC. Let's see where we are. And yes, I mean, if we have to be totally reasonable about things, we can say this makes perfect sense. So beautiful pump on the weekend, and now some kind of bearish Monday. We kind of like a bearish Monday. That might tee us up for a little bit of things later during the week. So, you know, maybe we need to just be a little bit of delayed gratification here in terms of what we can get out of the market. But what am I looking at right now for BTC? Well, we'll keep it really simple. You can see I've got my anchored VWAP coming in from the lows. I've got my 382. I've got my horizontal. So waiting here, 88,600. This makes sense to me as a potential reaction zone if they are kind to us. Now, if they are going to get ugly, I suspect there's a couple of things we need to understand along the way. First thing, we might get some kind of short-term relief bounce at around about 86,500. So we can see that makes sense. That's a horizontal. That'll take out a lot of that candle. But if we are at 86,500, what is going to stop them from filling that CME gap that was opened this weekend on that weekend pump? So for me, I'm inclined to say if we start closing under this 88,600 region, I suspect they're going to make their way down and they're going to eventually close the CME gap. And that ties in perfectly with our September dump VWAP, our horizontals, our 618 as well, and then obviously that CME gap. So 84,600 makes sense to me for the banger on BTC. Now, that is obviously if this market remains nice and bullish. And, you know, to remain nice and bullish, we typically want to see a higher low. And ideally, that 618 is what we're going to look at. And I don't want to say it's our final line in the sand, because we got tons underneath as well that we can talk about. But in terms of, you know, feeling comfortable as somebody sitting in a couple of positions now after that move yesterday, I don't personally want to go lower than 84,600. So we're going to watch that. Even if I have to blow on the candles on the screen, we'll try and pump that thing higher, even on the lower time frame. Now, I've actually got so much to talk about. Literally, I've got so much to talk about here today. I've got tons of news. There's lots of tweets, and I think it's important that we pay attention to some of this. And I'm also roping James in at some point. He's got a couple of comments here as to what is actually going down this week. But number one, fear and greed is at 33. So we saw it was at sub 20, then it hit 20 yesterday on the weekend. Now we've had a beautiful pump, and now people are getting less scared. So 33. So I think if we use this system, we go long on Bitcoin, fear and greed, low 20s, anywhere in that region, and we start looking for big shorts when we're at 80, 90, and getting very overcooked. So that's typically the strategy, and it seems to be working okay right now. And then, I mean, we could get a surprise and they could send it back down. But who's feeling like this? Who sold the absolute bottom? Did anyone sell the bottom? Let us know in the chats. Did you sell the bottom? Let us know. And are you feeling sad about it? Or do you think we actually are going lower? Now, this I played yesterday on the show. Now, some of you would have caught my show yesterday, and you would have seen I discussed this Trump situation at length. We discussed the strategic reserve. We're going to talk about it again today. And I played this tweet because this is actually so important for everybody. And you saw me yesterday take profit live on AVAX. The market had pumped beautifully, and we picked which one we we're going to take, and I closed my AVAX trade. Now, subsequent to that, this market has fallen over. So could have been the guy at the bottom on AVAX. Okay, so you remember, you can be two guys. You can be the one that takes profit and keeps your discipline, and when the market's pumping, you enjoy it and then go have your free time. Or you can be the guy that keeps round tripping all the time. So decide which guy you are in your trading strategy. And, you know, for me, to help me along the way with some of that stuff, I love opening head shorts in some big zones. So if I have a net bullish bias and we hit a big zone, I might say, okay, cool. I'll take profit on this one, take profit on that one. But why don't I open a head short on a couple of positions as well, just in case we get a reversal and those head shorts can help us. So we do a lot of that in Chart Hackers, and we cover tons of those types of setups. So if you want to learn how to long and short and all those things, you must hang out with us in Chart Hackers, and obviously watch the show. You can see how we go about all those things. Okay, so now this is important. So 359 million leveraged Bitcoin positions wiped out after Trump announced the strategic reserve. We know that there were a lot of guys shorting, doing these types of things. So we understand a lot of bears got rinsed out. And then we saw earlier today another $120 million liquidated from the cryptocurrency market in 60 minutes. So this was everybody piling up late longs. Remember, the best work is done when the market is green, the market is bleeding out. That's where we get our best entries. If we are chasing green candles and trying to trace breakouts, our stops get too tight because the risk gets too much. And then this is the result of these types of things. I like this post from Commonwealth here. Opens a new account, looking a little bit abused here at the bottom, old Peppy. Okay, so let's go. A whale wallet that had been dormant for 3 years has deposited 1,250 Bitcoin into Binance 4 hours ago. Now, that is not great. Okay, that is not bullish news. Does this make you happy, James?
No.
No.
A bit nervous, yeah.
Chaos, does this make you happy or nervous?
Not entirely, no.
Okay, so that's interesting what's going on. Then Marty Party drops today. Market makers update. Look at Binance reaction to the move. Ask yourself, why is Binance sending so much Bitcoin to market makers on bullish news? Are they exiting positions? What is going on here? Do they know something we don't know? Anyway, that and look, it could be completely unrelated what I'm going to be talking about, but here we go. So we know the US Senate is going to vote on repealing the IRS rules threatening crypto and DeFi this week. We know that was a big thing, but they still have to vote about this current situation. So there is a vote that's going to happen. What if it doesn't play out the way the bulls are expecting? Maybe that is a bearish scenario. So let's just pay attention to that. And then in terms of the news, now I know some of you don't even know what happened this weekend, and you've just come and you want to find out what is going on. So Trump announced that he was going to go through with the strategic reserve, and he's included Cardano, he's included ETH, Solana, XRP in the whole mix. So quite interesting, but I find it pretty strange that they did it on the weekend. And there's a lot of people asking questions as to why this stuff went down on the weekend. Why make such a big announcement on the weekend? And we got this Ben Norton here saying jaw-dropping corruption. The billionaire crypto czar is heavily invested in a fund. This is David Sachs, I think, whose top 5 holdings are the 5 in the US government crypto strategic reserve. Okay, mere hours before Trump announcement, somebody bought $200 million in ETH and Bitcoin on 50x leverage. Now, we spoke about that yesterday, and they obviously knew the market was going to pump a little bit. Father, I'll go 50x long today. You post about the Bitcoin strategic reserve. Again, just speculation. I mean, we don't know. We just literally having a laugh here, speculating, but maybe. So Stella Man says, Barron or Eric Trump or a Trump cabinet member, connected individual, just grifted $6 million in 10 hours insider trading against the American people. That's what he's saying, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm just reading the tweet here. This whale, Look on Chain says, this whale who was long Bitcoin and ETH with 50x leverage has closed most of his long positions, making 6.8 million. Okay, that's a nice little trade. Nice speculative, you know, what did he make? How big was the trade? 100 and something $1 million. Anyway, nice speculative Sunday move.
20 million total for the trade, and he pocketed 6.8 million. And you know, that same wallet is short today. on Bitcoin.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
And, a nice little weekend $100 million trade from the couch, while you're sitting at home, because that's what we do on the weekend. We just go $100 million long there for fun. And then you know what we do? We short it afterwards as well. And we really put the screws in. There it is.
Get it both ways. Why not?
Both ways. Okay, so guys, there you go. That is what's going down there in the market. Then Eric Trump says, "You're welcome, my friend," and he's referring to Altcoin Gordon saying, "Never fade Eric Trump, who said buy the dips." And he's saying, "Welcome. Hopefully, I made someone's life just a little bit better." Well, yeah, he might have had a nice weekend too. Might have made himself a couple of dollars there.
It may have been his account for all we know.
Maybe not, but we're reading tweets. We're not making assumptions about anything, okay? And Ali Chart's got interesting information here for us. He says, even if President Trump signs an executive order, a U.S. strategic crypto reserve wouldn't become a reality overnight. Fair comment. Congress must draft, debate, and pass legislation. Okay, so that's a process. The bill must define which cryptos are included and their weightings. Funding sources need to be allocated. Agencies like the SEC, CFTC, and Treasury must establish compliance rules. If Congress rejects it, well, look, I don't think Congress is going to reject it.
Well, no. Republicans have the House and the Senate. So whatever he wants to push through, he can put pressure. He'll get it through. But there is a process. He can't just go and dump the money in there now and buy all this, or however they plan on executing that, right? Yeah, okay. It's not overnight.
So yes, now we know. Now our job is to understand, are the macro conditions good enough for the market to now hold this move and sustain a grind up into whenever this might happen? So we've got the announcement. The market loved it. It was on a weekend, low volumes, and all the bears got rinsed. But now, are the bulls actually going to step in? That is the big question we need to ask ourselves. So a lot happening, and there's a lot going into this week, Friday, as well. So David Sachs is part of, what do we call this thing? The Crypto Summit, the White House Crypto Summit. That's happening on Friday. I think the bulls or the market is holding on for something here. What are you thinking?
Absolutely. That's the rumors that everybody thinks. Of course, they're going to talk more about this reserve. And Sachs said that in some emails over the weekend. I love the name Sachs. So many good jokes with that. But anyway, they're speculating that they're going to talk about this tax-free, zero capital gains tokens, American coins, all sorts of speculation there.
Okay, so guys, we'll hurry up and wait. We just need, as bulls, we need the bulls to step in. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of levels today. They actually need to come now, or we're reversing a lot of these pumps from this weekend. Then there's two bits of news, and I want James to stick around because he was telling me offline about this. But 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗟 and a couple of people tweeted, President Trump is going to make an investment announcement today at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Then it's come out that this announcement might just be linked to Trump and the chip maker Taiwan Semiconductor TSM. Okay, they're going to announce a $100 billion investment. Now, James thinks there might be another announcement coming. What is that?
Yeah, well, because Trump loves his surprises with the media and everything else, and I don't think he's going to let this come out first. I think this obviously has been announced already, but I got a feeling he's got something else he's coming out with here in just, less than 2 hours now. 1:30 Eastern is when he's to be speaking and making some sort of announcement.
Okay, so look, guys, it may or may not be this announcement about a chip manufacturer. It may not be about crypto at all. Okay, but the man, like James says,
it's financial. He did say it's financial, so it could be stocks, it could be something else. We have no idea, but it is financial that's coming out.
Okay, and then there's another announcement, guys.
Yeah, he speaks tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, and that's actually slated on the Forex Factory. It's one of the red folder items. So I'm not sure what that's about. I don't think it's necessarily about crypto, but he will be speaking.
So, guys, he's going to tell it like it is. Okay? Now, I don't know. It sounds scary. Yeah, it sounds like market mover. Okay? It sounds like something big is coming, and he's teeing everybody up for it. Okay, so I see Commonwealth is in everyone's chats here. They say this is the language someone who's about to go all in on Altcoin uses. Okay, so guys, there you go. Okay, that's what is going on in the news today. We've got a big week in crypto. We've got the strategic reserve. Oh, the bull's coming. Okay, now we're going to look at charts. Chaos is bringing a couple of setups as well for us. So we've got a lot to cover here. And let's see. Are we going to get rinsed this week, or are they going to actually allow us to print a little bit. So talking about Bitcoin on the weekly, I think this is an important chart, and we love this weekly close that we saw on Sunday. This is beautiful. And now, you know, the big levels are starting to be pretty clear where a lot of the fun is. So we're going to look at this 90K. You can see on the weekly here, this is now a big level. Ideally, if we drift lower, we just want to close this weekly above, and we just want to keep grinding higher. So it is still early days on this weekly candle. Anything can happen. We are day one into the next week. So let's see, but it's a good start that our weekly candle has closed above that critical 90K region for me. And I'd just like to see higher lows get printed, and then we start grinding our way up. So far, I think we're okay, especially in terms of Bitcoin on the weekly. I think we are okay there. Now, let's talk a little bit about liquidity, and this is important to know. And you want to know where the liquidations are. Where's the liquidation heat map telling us where there's a little bit of juice? Where's the possible target? And you can see to the upside here, this 95K region makes a lot of sense for a little visit for the market makers if they are going to send it higher. Excuse me. Okay, so 95K makes sense. They have flushed out a lot to the downside, and you can see 89K. There is a little bit of a band here at 89K that we can pay attention to. But in terms of you know, the liquidations and things like that, 95K is making a lot of sense for us to the upside. Now, let's talk altcoins. Let's talk about the market. Let's understand what is actually happening. So we saw a beautiful Bitcoin weekly candle finish on the weekly chart, on the Bitcoin chart. Now we're looking at the USDT dominance, and this is the weekly chart. And look at this beautiful rejection off the 618, making me really happy. And that pumped our bags very nicely. So we basically looking, I mean, we're using Bitcoin as the guide, but we're looking at these two as two converse charts. So you've had this beautiful pump on Bitcoin, you've had a beautiful pump on a dump on USDT dominance, and now they're going to play out, and they're going to hopefully sing from the same hymn sheet here. So in terms of what we want to see on USDT dominance, we got our close under major support, which for me is the 200-day moving average. And you know, if anything, we come and fill some of that wick before we send it back lower down. Now that's the bull case, and that is what we're going to be looking for. And Sasha says no closure of yesterday's CME gap at 86. Sasha, that gap goes all the way down to, I think it was 85K, give or take. Let's confirm where this gap is. That gap is sitting at 84,800. There's your gap on that CME chart that we are looking at the moment. So that ties in quite nicely with that 618 there, Sasha. Okay, so USDT dominance, we just want to close under this 200-day moving average. That is the ideal bull scenario. We started well yesterday with that weekly close. Let's follow through, lower high, keep it drifting lower. Then I think we are going to be okay with everything. Now, in terms of dominance, this is our fight between Bitcoin and the alts. And basically, we want the alts to win if we are altcoin traders. And I know a lot of you guys are, and this is what we want to see. So in terms of Bitcoin, 61.3, we marked this area yesterday. This is our rejection zone. You can see dominance is actually fighting this area at the moment. We don't really want to close above that zone. You can see this is daily resistance. What we typically want to see here is this pump into that area, which we've now done, and now a drop back into our 59.8%, somewhere in that region, just to give us one more alts pump. And then I think the real level for us on the dominance chart is a little bit lower down. So there is a little bit of a hopium here for another pump on some of these alts, but we want to go 59.8%. That is a nice big level. It ties in with trend, and it makes sense to me if we are going to get a bounce out of the market. Now, what do we do if the market starts dumping? Okay, if the market starts dropping further than you know, where we are sitting right now, and we've given up you know, a lot of these moves, if there is a further dump in the market, you are going to look for a reversal on dominance at 62.1%. So you are at the time, you're going to tee this up in that region, and you're going to look where your altcoins are sitting. Are your altcoins sitting on decent support zones when dominance is in this area? If the answer is yes, there's a very good chance you're going to get a bounce on those altcoins in that zone. So what you typically want to do is try and tie in your alts on supports with your dominance at resistance, and then you get that type of move where the dominance rejects and the alts bounce a little bit. So that is something you're going to look for. Remember, when the market is super red, pull out your dominance chart, try and see where you can get a rejection in those types of things, and then cover our altcoin market. Now, these are my three favorite charts: the USDT dominance at the moment, Bitcoin dominance, and this total 3. I think this gives a beautiful picture as to what is happening in the market. And in terms of total 3, which is the altcoin market excluding Bitcoin and ETH, you can see we've actually had a beautiful break of trend. rejection at a typical rejection zone. The 50-day moving average makes perfect sense that it rejects there, ties in with horizontals. Now we're busy with a retest. So this is where the bulls need to step in. If this was a current altcoin that we were looking to trade, we'd probably say, let's go for a long year. Okay, so risk reward, we are retesting trend, we are retesting major supports. So looking at what is in front of us, including the oscillator reversal here, printing bullish divergence and reversals. Based on that, it's typically a long setup that you will go for. So this is a trend retest. And in terms of this current positioning, this tells us that there is a possibility that these alts are going to bounce now in current areas. Okay, so with all of this nice information at hand, dominance at resistance, looking okay. Totals 3 on support, looking interesting. Maybe we can look for a couple of longs. But obviously, we're going to protect ourselves with stop losses. And we're going to make sure we are covered with all these things. So let's bring in Chaos, the man that creates chaos. And what shall we call you? What shall we call you?
Call me enough names for today. Thank you very much. Remember that one?
No, man, the legend. Like, we got to get a name, guys. Let us know in the chats, because we know he's so fucking incredible on indicators. And let us know in the chats, what should we call this man? Okay, because we've got Rainier in Chart Hackers, and we've decided to call him the Surgeon. And I think we got a name. We need a name for Chaos here. The Lord of Chaos, Mr. Incredible. I like that. Okay, let us know. Master Chaos. I like this. Okay, guys, let us know in the chats. Chaos, I need help with ETH, please, sir.
Okay.
I'm stuck. Well, I'm not stuck. Okay, this was my plan. Buying down to 2,100, looking for a bounce. The Vindicator. I like this. Okay. Okay. So this is what I'm looking at. I was buying all the way down to 2,100. Obviously have conviction on ETH for various reasons. The first one is it's obviously part of our American bag. The next one is Quinton telling us the most shorts in history, or basically sitting on ETH at the moment. Lots of reasons. We know the Trump Foundation is buying ETH and things like that. So help me. What am I doing? Where are we going? Up or down?
I'm completely with you on ETH. I've been loving this. It's such to the point where we traded it this weekend, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But in answer to your question, I think we're going to go up. Let's have a look at this support level. Okay, it's previously resistance. We have tapped on this, and this is on the daily, so you can imagine how many candles there are on the shorter time frames. We have tapped this so many times. Okay. And what happened yesterday, we had a great pump. By the way, we caught that, all of that, and we cashed in as well. We've had almost a full retrace now. And I'm actually anticipating, just move that, visiting this zone again. All right, I think we're going to dip back in at 2-1, call it 2-2, just for a round figure. So if I'm honest with you, we caught the 20% move here. Okay, we've caught that, 18%. What I'm now doing is I'm now waiting for price to come back down 2-2 region. Let's say 2217, and we're going to go again.
So, I mean, yeah, we're pretty close then in terms of, a couple of percent here. Okay, so that's going to tie in with a lot of alts. So that's a higher low in play, and then upside target. Anything in particular?
Listen, we're doing a couple of things here. We're running this very cool new feature called the 20% Club in Hackers. So at the very least, this is the move. So let's say that we get an entry around here. Our target for the initial 20% will be roughly 267, give or take, 2670. Okay. And that is not even to the point that I've marked out, where we've, again, really nice mid-range, and then up to the top of the range, all in, it's a 50% move. That's a great move.
Wow. Okay. So that big one is, where's that? 3,000?
Yeah. Listen, this is 3.5. So 3-4, give or take, if you were to front run it.
Okay. So guys, I mean, obviously the hackers guys know exactly what we're doing in there, but Chaos has got this amazing initiative. He's an incredible indicator trader. Okay. And I mean, he's the master of these things. And he's launched with FJ, the 20% Club. Now, just explain it. Elevator pitch quickly what this is.
The elevator pitch has been put off by someone referring to me as the backdoor man. Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
There's some beautiful names here, actually. There was one about Maverick. James, I hope you're taking notes here. We need some of these names.
Okay. It's not going to be the backdoor man. Okay, cool. So very, very quickly, We're going to choose your starting point. The starting point is up to you, $100, $1,000. We're going to take 20% trades. Okay, we're looking for about 1 or 2 a week. I've actually got 3 today. That I'll be dropping in later on. We're officially starting this tomorrow morning, so you're not too late, guys. We had one practice trade. We took 18% straight up over the weekend, and that was on ETH. We're going to re-enter later on today or probably tomorrow, and that'll be the next one. And the idea is you take your 20% and you can funnel some of that out into your leverage account. You can compound it back into your spot account. We're just doing this on spot, guys, so there's no problems with liquidation. The amount of money that we'll make from this should hopefully 10x the amount of losses that everybody's been liquidated on recently.
Okay, so they'll explain it in detail when it goes live, and it's officially starting tomorrow.
It's officially starting tomorrow. By the way, we're aiming for 6 figures, even if you got $100.
Okay, you're going to see tomorrow what it's all about. Okay, so we spot trading. We're doing lots of range trading there with Chaos. He's going to hold your hand. He's going to take you through all of this stuff. And 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪, guys, we're having a bit of fun here in the chats. I'm enjoying the names coming through. That's interesting. The Dreamcatcher is also quite interesting there. And tariffs tomorrow, according to Magnus. Okay, so ETH, thanks for the help there, guys. So you can see 2,000, 2,100. That's our low that we are watching on ETH. And then we got to talk Sol. I'm assuming Chaos has got some Sol stuff as well. So just to update you as to where I am at the moment, a couple of things. Sol versus Bitcoin. We looked at this yesterday, and look, to be fair, the warning bells were there. We were Sol BTC under weekly resistance, so we could see pump in, look for the rejection. So that is in play at the moment. We don't really mind if this is going to drop lower if Bitcoin is pumping hard. That's totally fine. But if the market is falling over, this is not going to be a good look for Solana, and we might be dipping quite a bit more. Now, the level we're going to give you today is going to be a short-term level. If we drop that on BTC and Sol, it's going to be much lower. We're probably going to be fetching Sol at, again, I don't know, 190, somewhere around there. It's going to get pretty ugly. So in terms of what we're looking for now on Sol, here's the current situation. So yesterday, I'm glad I closed that AVAX trade. I mean, that made perfect sense. And what I've got going on here in Bank at the moment is a couple of head shorts. So what you do when the market's absolutely ripping and you're feeling super euphoric and you start seeing rejections in random places, what you can do is just go to a couple of your generic alts, or a couple of alts that kind of flow with the market, and you can bang out a couple of head shorts after nice euphoric pump. So you can see I've got Gala running there, that's in profit. I've got Pepe running, that's in profit. I've got Pi, that's a long from a level I gave you on my show, probably Wednesday, Thursday. We've still got Brett there. That Sol short is now running with the Sol long. So the long is $5,000 up. The short is $1,400 up. We longed the bottom, we shorted the top, and we're going to see how that plays out. If the market drops lower, at least we have a little bit of stop loss cover with a nice short in play. Now, obviously, it doesn't cure the problem of losing out on a $5,000 trade, but if you have a bullish bias and you're looking for a higher low on these alts, a head short can sometimes help you along the way, and then you can start buying more of that token. So we're going to talk about the next Sol level there for you guys as well. And then I've got XRP. That was a trade from Chart Hackers this morning. And then I've got Cardano, also from Chart Hackers. I dropped it this morning, and it was on my show last night. XRP and Cardano are in areas of interest here where we could get a bounce. And then BONK, that is still running. I've added a little bit to this BONK position. It's on the last level now where I'm looking for a bounce. So this would actually be a fresh long now for BONK traders. This thing was pumping yesterday, and we closed some of the longs, but BONK was one of them I wanted to hold on to. Now we've done a full round trip, and we are in a bounce zone. So we're going to cover that BONK chart as well for you guys in a couple of seconds. So let's talk Sol. To say it rejected exactly as predicted, I mean, I don't know. We have to say that because it did. 200-day moving average got in the way. Big weekly level got in the way. Daily level, trend, a typical trend break and retest. Let's flip this over so everybody can see the picture. Look at that. Break of trend, bang, retest, bang into that level, and then typically a bounce. That is typically what happens on a trend break and retest. Now, let's flip this thing back. And what we can say is, and Chaos, I'm keen to hear your thoughts on the current situation from where we are in the market. But for me, the announcement of a strategic reserve and the ETFs and all these things coming for Sol, there was something in me that said, okay, there's a very good chance we're going to hold one of these zones here and then start grinding higher, and then we can call this thing bullish later on. So that is why my bias was leading bullish with all the information we have at the moment. Where are you mentally with this market?
Mentally?
Yeah, where are you seeing this?
Listen, I'm pretty hopeful for Solana, though. I can show you what I'm looking at if you like.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Jason says Sexy Beast. I mean, that could be a nice name for you as well.
Thank you. Better than someone just referred to me as Nipples or something. I don't know. Anyway, right, we're digressing. Okay, so very, very quickly, just zoomed out on the daily for a second. Once again, huge area of support. Not only did we ping this support, we then pinged my resistance perfectly yesterday, and I took profit on an absolutely banger trade. So we've done this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now. And listen, at this point, I don't see us coming quite the way back down unless, like you said, things change on a macro level potentially, or some big news comes out. But my entry is going to be around the 146 region. Now, the reason I've picked this region, I'll show you, is if we just go left a little bit, as you always should do, we've got this lovely cash flow wave. Okay, when it went green, okay, what we got at the point of going green is this candle. We got this move. I mean, it was an absolutely glorious move. Okay, what we've had this time is we've got the cash flow, which has come down. It's coming back up now very, very clearly. And we've also had a color change here as well in the RSI. And of course, when that happens, let's go left again, changed here, you know, off we went, you know, and then you look back here, once again, off we went, you look back, and so on and so forth. So you get the hints. We've had the color change. The reason I've picked that region is even though on the daily we look like we're bottoming out and everything's starting to face upwards, there's divergence present. You know, we cracked the trend line. If nothing else, we've come back and retested it. If we come down to a lower time frame, and I've just picked the 3 hour at random, I'm sure the 4 hour, the 2 hour, they're the same. They're all showing that we were overbought, which was perfect. We're coming down. There is a sell signal in play. We've come down through the quantum reactor. We've touched on the trend line. What we're now looking for in this smaller time frame is the retrace before we make our reversal, and that hopefully will look something like that. So 146 is my region, and once again, guys, from there to there, this is another 20% move that you guys will get in Chart Hacker, and I'm going to tell you all about it tomorrow when it's loading.
Very nice, sir. Okay, so just to recap on the lower time frames from my side as well, it's always nice to see when the indicator stuff that Chaos likes to look at ties in with some of my indicator stuff, okay? And it always helps, you know, it always helps with, you know, your thoughts on the market and things when you've got other people tying in as well. So nice to see that, Chaos. I'm glad you like 146. Just to re-look at this thing, in terms of 146, why is it interesting just from a chart perspective? Well, you can see this was one of our support bound zones that we were looking at previously, and it acted as resistance previously. So we understand 146 makes sense to us. Then if we go in on the lower time frame, just to confirm exactly what Chaos is saying, it makes perfect sense here, what he's saying. And yesterday on the show, I actually said the pullback zone for me to add a lot to that Sol trade is going to be 146. Okay, that was the big zone for us, and that is going to be the new trade zone for anybody else looking for a Sol entry. So remember last night I said we got to be very careful in these types of regions because it's a weekend and we're a little bit uncomfortable, and one of the scenarios was quite a big retrace. So 146, big zone, guys, big zone. You've got your trend, you've got your quantum reactor, you got your horizontals, you got your 618. Tons happening here. This is the 1 hour I'm tracking, and at some point we are going to get that starting to play out as well. So with Chaos's 4 hour reversal that he's talking about, you might very well get some kind of divergence print here on the 1 hour, and that's going to be a trigger for a bigger move to the upside. So Chaos, love that chart. Thank you. 146 looking good, and going to be adding there to that Sol position, and that's probably where I'm going to close that short as well. Okay, so That's cool. I know we talk a lot about chart hackers, and now that you're here, I just let's show the guys the chart hackers Twitter. You could follow us at the chart hackers, and there's a little video from me as to what chart hackers is, if you guys don't know. And there's lots of alpha for you guys. Obviously, there's a little bit of bragging here going down because it's what we do. You know, we are traders. Look at Trader J yesterday, just cleaning up, having some lunch there, and things are going down. And this looks like Chaos's, or whose chart is this? Is this FJ? Okay, and there's a lot going on there. So there's strategies, there's plans, all these things here for you guys if you follow that Twitter account. Okay, I also want to give away some Bitfunders today, and I saw all these cool names coming through for Chaos. So I'm going to keep two Bitfunded names, two Bitfundeds for the two best name suggestions in the chat. So that one that Jamesy was one about Market Maverick, or what was that?
Not the
that
clam
was
clapper.
That was Maddie that had that. I like the clam clapper though. I think that's a winner too.
We need something like the Surgeon. You know what I mean? A link to Chaos. So guys, I want to give away two Bitfundeds. I need the best names here for Chaos. We're going to lock in those names. Okay, so they got to be bangers. Okay, so keep them coming. And Wicked was okay. Keep them coming, guys. Let's go. Let's go into some alpha, and this is pure alpha because this is exactly XRP and Cardano holders after Trump announced the strategic reserve. I mean, this is exactly what went down. Okay. Believe it or not, the Cardano girls are in. Okay, they're gonna come for another visit. I told you on my show yesterday, when it's green, they like to come on the show. So we're gonna bring them on the show. The Cardano girls are gonna come. I'm hoping it's tomorrow. Okay, we're in the DMs now of those Cardano girls. Yes, sir.
Win XRP girls.
Do those exist?
Yeah, of course they do. I'll put a dress on and come on as a special guest.
If there are XRP girls out there, please connect me on X, on Twitter with them. I want them on my show. I need an XRP girls community. Put them on my show. Okay, we want to meet them. Okay, let's go. Let's get into Cardano. Let's get into XRP. So we know some not very nice information. We looked at this yesterday. Lots of whales selling XRP. Now, they were selling before the pump, so it's not like they knew they were going to sell into the market pump, but whales offloading. If you look at this chart, it's not a joke. This is serious selling. I mean, this chart goes back to July 2022. Look at this here. These guys are like saying, this is too good to be true. We've pumped our bags at $3. Is this peak gain for XRP? And some of the whales are taking profits. And again, nothing wrong with taking profits. You're allowed to take profits if you're making money. So let's not get that salty about it. But factually, the whales are exiting. So what we're looking at here on XRP on the weekly is still a head and shoulders I spoke about yesterday. And I know James wasn't much of a fan of that, but it's here. We can't ignore it. It's looking a little bit bearish here potentially. But in saying that, we could easily have a situation where XRP just prints a higher low and it carries on. So in terms of, potential downside, yes, it could be a little bit weak here on the weekly, and we can invalidate this whole thing once again. If we close above this 2.96, we can start turning a little bit more bullish. But until then, potentially, we need to start looking at a road lower down for XRP. Now, it could come in multiple combinations. There could be lots of little pumps in between and all these things. And this is one of the trades that I gave you guys on the show yesterday. Now, I just want to also say something here. This sell-off that they gave us today was very, very quick. Okay, it wasn't like a typical sell-off that we want to see, where the market pumps really nicely, then it just slows down, and there's consolidation, and there's flags and things like that, and there's a bit of time. The oscillators reset nicely. They've basically gone up, and they've rinsed it straight back down. So that means a lot of these oscillators need a little bit more time to reset. So it's interesting situation at the moment. And Chaos, are you reading all these names? Because we got to select two. Okay,
I've got a mute. It's fucking pissing myself here.
This is a good one, the circumciser. Okay, so in terms of what I gave yesterday, XRP is in the zone. It's in the bounce zone here. We've got quantum reactor support. I've got 100-day moving average support. I've got trend support for you as well. So this is generally quite a nice area here for potential XRP long. So what are my dangers here if I'm wrong? So if you are wrong on this trade, it means we are closing under the 100-day MA. And then next thing, we are going to be visiting this big horizontal zone and 618. So this is going to be your backup region that you're going to be watching. So levels for me right now for XRP, anything between 2.6 and 2.46. Those are entry zone number one. You can see I've got a VWAP in here as well. And what we really want to see is a nice clean reversal on the oscillators. Now, the downside of this idea is that our oscillator is still nowhere near what we want to see. We really want to see that type of reversal. So it's a little bit concerning for me from that perspective. But in terms of where does XRP generally bounce, for me, it's in this first region, that guy, or alternatively, it's going to be around about 2.36 that you're going to be looking at. So I don't like the look of this candle. And I think if it does get momentum, they might come and wipe that thing out quite quickly. So 2.35, 2.36, that type of region is going to be your backup zone. And what you can do is start dialing in on lower time frames. And maybe some of these scalps then turn into something bigger, but you're going to look at these oscillators tying in on some key levels. So you can see the 30-minute is trying to print bullish divergence. Okay, it's trying something here in that current region. So that tells you there may or may not be a short-term bounce in the market. And again, the higher the time frame, the stronger the move. So if we are using, if we are looking at the 2-hour oscillator and the 4-hour, we know that those things potentially want to come down first. So that tells us if we get a short-term bounce, we just need to be aware that any short-term bounces on the market could be like the one we got this afternoon. Look at that. We got a pump off our VWAP today. We got about, let's just see the size of this move. We got a 7% pump using the 15 and 30-minute oscillator bounce reversals. And this cut could potentially play out again. So you might see that one more time, and then there could be this dip into the lower region. So don't write off the fact that you can get scalps in between all of these things. But in terms of the big moves, we generally want to wait for that 2-hour and 4-hour to be reset. The candle scalpel, it sounds cute. I mean, it sounds cute. We need something like the surgeon.
It's better than wanker, Chaos.
No, that's not a nice one. Chinkatron, bro. That's not nice. Bro. Okay. No, bro. Come on. I can't even read this. Okay. So XRP, you guys are sorted. Let's go Cardano. Now, I'm not that glad it rejected, but in terms of Cardano rejecting, it's given us a very nice playing field for our setup. So you can see Cardano on the weekly rejected at a big 1.15 weekly band. Beautiful rejection there. Look at that. So pumps into resistance. Everyone sells it at a major resistance zone. What does it drop onto? Look at this, 92. This is our 382 fib and our weekly support zone as well. So we know that this is a big level with our 100-day moving average. And that makes sense as a possible bounce zone here for Cardano. How high? Again, hard to say because we could easily just bring it back down before we get our next possible move. But in terms of support on the weekly, 92 makes sense for me. Then the next level is going to be 76. Now let's go into DGen setups here and just talk about this one. So this was a setup that I gave you on the show yesterday, and it's happened a lot quicker than we wanted to see. So we need to just get a little bit of structure. So I posted this on Chart Hackers earlier today. This is one of the setups we were looking at. And I was just basically saying what you want to see in these scenarios is you want to see the dump stop. And you want to see it consolidate, okay? And then we want to hear some more bullish news out of the market or something, or get a pump out of Bitcoin, and then you typically get that type of move off these types of levels. So we know that we are on our first major weekly zone. You can see this is our first major weekly level. We can see this is an area of interest, so we can tie that into our lower time frame chart and say, okay, cool. That makes sense to us. Now, if we lose this level based on this oscillator on the 3-hour that I'm watching in this example, if this thing starts coming a little bit lower, your next feasible bounce zone is quite far down. It's because of the size of the pump off Cardano yesterday, it can actually hurt you quite quickly. It's 10% down to the next big bounce zone for me. And if we try and tie that in, you can see that's just above this weekly region here. Look at this. Okay, you can see we've got some weekly candles just over there at what's that, about 82, which we are watching in that zone. So if that will take us into that type of region, it's about a 10% dip into that zone. So just be aware that if you are sitting in a leverage trade, don't get caught in a position where you are sitting in a Cardano long here and you say to yourself, well, you're happy to ride it down to the next zone, because if you ride it down to the next zone, you can get absolutely rinsed on a leverage trade. Okay, 17%, to your next bounce zone, and then the same applies for this 80 region. You can see it's our 618, it's our horizontal. We know this is a big level here for us. If we lose this 80 level, it's a serious move back down. Look at that. It's another 17%. So there's proper rinsage here for anybody trying to get a little bit too aggressive with stop losses and too aggressive with leverage and longs here on Cardano. So my advice to anybody who wants to do this, do it slowly, little bits at a time. You can see I've opened that position there on Cardano, on LBank, and where's this thing? There it is. Okay, you can see I've started a small position. On the second dip, I added a little bit more, but I'm not going to stick around. Okay, I'm not going to ride this thing down 17%. I'm going to be out of this thing if I'm wrong. I'm looking for a small little bounce. And if we are wrong on that bounce, I'm going to be out of this thing. And for me, that cut zone, guys, and just mark this on your charts as well, a close under 92. Okay, it's not a place I want to be. That candle looks disgusting. Do you have the market seducer? Now we're getting somewhere. Do we have anything on Cardano, your side?
Cardano, yeah, I brought it up just before.
The Alchemist. I like the Alchemist. I like that.
That's not a bad one. It's better than some of the other stuff that I've read today.
The candle cleanser, the wick wrecker. Adam says he's out of names. Okay, talk to me about. Do you have some Cardano here for us?
So I've only just loaded it. I can show you what I'm looking at. Just while things load in. So obviously, on the longer time frame. So listen, I mean, how good was this? We obviously ran from the lows on the oscillator up to the top. We obviously went overbought, which is quite a recent print. Since then, we took the liquidity out of this order block. And we've come back down, and we're actually right now on the point of control. Okay, the thing that concerns me, and I haven't spent any time overly charting this, it's only just because you've asked me to bring it up. I see that the cash flow wave, it's facing down. This is only just printed overbought. Now, realistically, from here, certainly to this order block, is a huge move. Okay, and this is just one big imbalance. We've had no test yet of these candles. So let's just jump down to a smaller time frame really quickly and see if it concurs. But, this is loading really slowly. Is it going to load? Chaos, the internet problem guy.
There's some good names. I'm just enjoying the names while it loads. Okay, I'm leaning towards the Alchemist. James, we've got to make sure whoever came up with the Alchemist is going to win something here.
I've got it down. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, and then we got one more. We got one more. There's one or two more here in the chats that are looking interesting. Okay,
here we go. We are loaded. Right. So just dropping down into a completely random time frame. The 3 hour, it'd be the same, I'm sure, going down. We've just had a sell. Right. So let's just look at this. There was a great buy. The buy printed some money. The buy also was when it turned green. If you look, shot up. We've overbought. We've reversed. We've got a sell signal. And we're making our way back down. The candles are no longer green. They're now pink or red. They're indecision. This is firmly red. If I'm honest with you, this whole wick here, which is still an untested imbalance, that's a 30% move. Even if you're for a small amount on a 10x, you'll wipe yourself 3 times over. It's just not worth it. Sorry. So not good.
100%. So, what we're looking at here is these are your zones. These are your scalp zones. Don't hang around. Like if this thing starts losing this level, understand these candles are disgusting. Okay. Yeah. This thing can drop super fast, 11%. Then it can drop a total here of 26%. That is pure rinsage there on Cardano if you are not careful. So if you're playing these zones, stop losses are in order. Okay, so make sure you are using stops on these things. Don't try and write it down. Chris Williams, the shitcoin shaman. I also like that. I love the way that rolls off my tongue. But Alchemist I can go for, definitely. And there was a couple others. What else are you seeing there, James?
I like the Chaos, the Candle Hunter.
It's good.
Do you like it, Chaos? Because this is your name coming in hot.
Well, this is from this Ramesh Pathak. He's come up with about 100 names. You got to give him something for being
sport.
Yeah, that's it. Working so hard at it.
Okay, let's go. Ramesh, and who came up with the alchemist?
𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗟𝗡.
Okay, I love that alchemist. Okay, will you? Okay, those two guys that came up with that, you're gonna mail giveaways at 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪.com, and we're gonna give you a Bitfunded. It's a Bitfunded starter account. It's worth $79. You're going to get that. You're going to trade with other people's money. They're going to give you a demo account. You're going to get 8%, then 5%. Then they're going to give you a real money account and you can trade with that. So we're sending you that. Okay. Thanks for your name. Chaos, I'm leaning towards this alchemist. Okay. So
That's
guys,
fine.
mail giveaways at 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗡𝗥. Tell them you were the winner today. You guess the name. Tell them your name, obviously, and they'll just check on the show that it was you, and then you guys are sorted. Okay, so if you want another Bitfunded, there's another way you guys can get it, okay, and that is by joining Chart Hackers. So if you're not a member of Chart Hackers and you join today on the show, I'm going to give you a Bitfunded account. Okay, so we'll talk about that now in a sec. I'll tell you exactly what to do. Okay, let's go. ONDO Chaos, here's one. Okay, nice RWA play, Gray BTC. Now I mean I don't this is an account I haven't really seen before. The next coin to get a presidential announcement is ONDO. He suggests American founded. Yes, it's on our American list. Here's a list of American coins from Miles. Okay, dropped a nice list of American coins, so these are obviously topical. So it's on the list of American coins. Eric Trump went to the ONDO summit. Well, okay, I mean cool. Leader in real world assets, agree. It's in Trump's WLFI or WL5 portfolio, agree. Okay, so yeah, I mean, the guy's got nothing we don't know here with regards to ONDO. The guy's got a point. It's a banger, RWA play. So what do? We had a beautiful move on ONDO yesterday, or on the weekend. Very nice. And in terms of what I want to see, just keeping it really simple here on the daily, and we're not gonna go degen on this guy, but just keeping it super simple. 1.02. That is the line in the sand for me on ONDO. It's a very similar level to what you are seeing on some of the other tokens that, like Sol, for example. It's a retest of the horizontal breakout. Does make sense after a weekend pump like that they can come back and bounce that zone. So 1.02. For me on ONDO makes the most sense as the next potential bounce zone. Then we'll look for bigger things. But let's first see if we can get a bounce at 1.02. If not, we're coming back to 85. Now, every Monday, I do my weekly chart updates in Chart Hackers. So I update probably 25 or 30 charts on higher time frame. And I must say, Chaos, while you're here, a lot of them are looking bearish. Okay, so a lot of them are lost the rising trend, then they've retested and rejected, like Sol, like Injective, like CAS. There's so many out there, and actually, it's not a good look. So these things really need to print a higher low soon, this week, today, and then start grinding higher into that crypto summit, and maybe give us some new highs. Then we're going to be a little bit more comfortable. But until then, we've actually just rejected at a lot of trends. You've got a token for us. What do you got? Another one?
I did bring. I was going to bring you Jupiter, but oh my god, have I stumbled across something massive?
Okay. The pumpologist. Oof.
Oh, not bad, is it?
Name. So, okay, what have you got for us there?
I'll show you.
Harry Potter.
Okay, now.
Okay, here's your chart.
These guys. Okay. Guys, who remembers the dinosaur coin? Okay, I know that some of you will still have this coin, DOT. Okay?
What is it? DOT? Oh.
Yeah, but check this out, bro. Look at this. I mean, apart from the fact when we did it back here, let's just ignore that one because it was so long ago. The signals that have played out on this, and I'm just using one of our indicator packages, MDX Suite, Chart Prime is very similar. We've had some unbelievable moves up. Now, I've just quickly drawn this out. At the very least, it's 160% back to this resistance zone. I'm very aware that there is a zone that runs through the middle, okay, which is a strong point of resistance as well. Even to there, okay, that's a 66% move. So I'm not calling the trade yet, because if we just zoom in super quickly to say, the 3 hour, whatever, we can see we've got to clear the local resistance first, guys, okay? So what, very simply, I'm waiting for this thing to flip and well load again. I've got to get some better broadband. There we go. Look, so what I noticed, it shows you here as well. We've got the RSI. It's been up. It's been down. We're absolutely cooked at the minute, and we need a reset. We need to come back down before making our next move. Guys, I wouldn't be surprised to see this level at $4 again, 4.1. And if we can crack this, just go back to the daily, you've got yourselves a big move. And I really, really like the look of this. So much so, I'm going to be trading this and giving updates every day in Chart Hackers on this one coin, because this has got the potential to be one of the biggest movers.
So what's your low? What's your entry there for
Okay,
DOT?
so look, realistically, if we just zoom in one more time. Okay, sorry that I'm bringing DOT up. I realize that you hate this thing.
Look,
but
I used to hate Cardano and XRP, and now they print money. So we just moved with the time. Okay.
Just drawing a bottom here. If you were to A-pin, gently slide in the slider around 4.3, okay, and front run these wicks and maybe just ladder in again down at 4.1, at the very, very, very least, that's a 20, there you go, 20% move. If nothing else, okay, and then you start to move your stop up. So for
what
me,
time frame is this that we're looking at?
3 hour. If we go to the 2, the 4, the 1, it will be the same.
Can you zoom in just a little bit so everyone can see? Like they must see the numbers there. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it's 4.1. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a beautiful range trade. But what this means for us, fam, if anybody's watching this DOT chart, if it goes to 4.1, the market is. Are we allowed to swear?
It's not well.
Okay.
Not well.
So it's not great. If DOT goes to 4.1, we've given up a lot of gains. Okay, a lot of gains have been given up, and the market's in pain. Okay, so just understand that. But the plus side is you'll get great entries again of these types of levels. Okay.
Look at these trades there, man. Look at the size of these trades. They're massive. So this is exciting. I like the look of this one very much.
Okay, so a big one coming, guys. This is a game of patience. Now, I have no doubt Chaos will use this in the 20% club if it goes down to those types of levels. That's going to be one of the trades you're going to get. So it's just a matter of being patient, letting these things do their thing. I see James is in the house. James he's very involved here in the chats these days. I'm glad we got him into Chart Hackers. And I remember once James was quite grumpy in the chats, and then he came into Chart Hackers, and it's good to have you here, bro. Okay, let's talk. Are you guys? Do you want some DGen entries? DGen entries, you could potentially get rinsed here. Do you want them? Yes or no? Let me know in the chats. Okay, Chaos wants one. Okay, let's go. Let's go DGen entries and start with BONK on the 1 hour. So here we go. There's 2 zones where BONK can bounce for me for a short-term bounce. Now, what is a short-term bounce? Well, let's not get greedy. Okay, if things turn into something a bit more special later on, we can enjoy it. But right now, let's try and get something going if there is going to be energy here. So, in terms of a short-term bounce for me on BONK, where can this thing go from right here? I would say 1395. That's zone number 1. Zone number 2 is 1.43. And then zone number 3 is 0.0148. Okay, those are your 3 zones to the upside for BONK. Why is this interesting to me? Well, number 1, we've pretty much retraced the entire Trump pump again. Okay, so Trump pump version 2, okay, being retraced. 13% from the highs yesterday. Again, doesn't mean it can't drop another 13%. But what am I looking at? 1 hour oscillator has printed a reversal. Okay, so we've got our first reversal print, and that is over there. So this typically tells me these are one of the zones. We're going to get a bounce now on BONK, and it's going to be, most likely a short-term bounce. So anything down to 134 makes sense for me there. Alternatively, it is 130 is going to be the next bounce zone. So look for something small. The DGens over there, you might get something small out of BONK there, a short-term market bounce. And remember, protect yourself with a stop loss if you are doing these things, especially the high leverage guys. And there's a couple of ways you can play it. Number 1 stop loss would be a candle close under 133. You can use that zone, or alternatively a candle close under 129. Okay, those are your ways to exit if BONK doesn't go your way. And that is what I'm going to be doing. So you can see I'm sitting in my BONK position, and I added a little bit to it. There it is. So, if it doesn't bounce here, I'm going to start cutting my way out of that position. Don't need to sit in it for a long time. Okay, if we're wrong, we take the Mets and we move on. We keep it simple. So that's the BONK trade there. Then I've got, let's look at SUI. Okay, so SUI, I'm sitting in a SUI position. A couple of things here that could be playing out for us or could be playing out for us. There's important things to note. We've got a nice cluster of 4-hour support from Friday all the way to the pump on Sunday morning. So tons of 4-hour support there. We are busy closing that whole pump that we've had. 4 hours turning a bit bearish, but we know that on lower time frames, we're probably getting close to some kind of short-term bounce play on SUI. So potentially in this area, I'm still holding thumbs that we get a bounce now in the zone, but you can see my 1 hour is almost there. We're not quite there. And what we want to see is what I've mapped out here for the hackers earlier today. Now, this is how long we sometimes have to wait for a trade to play out. Sometimes you wait the entire day. And this was one of the setups I dropped in there. So we said support is clear in this region. There's 200-day MA as well. And we've got a 618. Okay, so look out for a little stop hunt below this guy. So 2.74. Look out for a little wick lower to clean that out. If the candle does close below this type of region, there's a very good possibility that then they are going to come and just send this thing all the way back down. Okay, they're going to send it back down to that type of zone, 2.52. So that is on the table. So if it doesn't bounce right here, 2.52 is going to be your next zone. Remember, these charts go straight into Chart Hackers after the show. So you'll be able to look at all of them there. And then one more DGen play for you guys. Let's see what we've got here. Injective. This was one that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So also retraced pretty much this whole move from Sunday. Now we are moving into an interesting zone. So this was the game plan I dropped in Hackers this morning. And there were two zones of interest. Number one was the 382. You can see it chopped around that area, gave a couple of little moves, and then eventually started falling over with the market. But we were looking for reversals. Okay, this is what we want to see. We want to see the divergence print. We want to see the green reversal print when we are on our levels. That tells us that we can get a move out of these things. So messing around on that zone, oscillator on the 1 hour, not ready. Now we are moving into a zone of interest here. And for me, this makes sense, 12.97. So you can see at the moment there is a reaction, but in terms of, zones we like to see it react on, I'd love to see it just dip into that area and then give us a little bit of a push there. So 12.97 on Injective makes sense for me. You can see sharp downtrend here at the moment. Let's see what that little move does. Might just drop us down into that zone. So I'll put that in Chart Hackers as well. There's your bullish divergence, and maybe something out of this thing could be a short-term move. Now, this is how you guys are going to join, or this is how you're going to get Bitfunded $79 packages from me. You're going to sign up for Chart Hackers. This is how you do it. You go into the show description. So under the show, you're going to go under the show, click on more, and you're going to see everything I talk about is under the show description for you. There's the accelerator course that I spoke about yesterday. I did my masterclass today, and there's Chart Hackers. So jump into Chart Hackers, sign up there. If you signed up to Chart Hackers yesterday, if you signed up to Chart Hackers today, what you're going to do is you're going to mail giveaways@cryptobanter.com. James is going to drop that email address for you quickly in the chat. So giveaways@cryptobanter.com. You're going to show them that you've signed up to Chart Hackers today or yesterday, and then I'm going to give you a Bitfunded $79 base challenge. Okay, so that's going to welcome you into Chart Hackers, and let's get trading. We might be in bullish conditions here. There might be a strategic reserve. Maybe it's a good time to join Chart Hackers. Okay, Chaos, thank you, sir. I love having you here, and your indicator stuff is amazing. The Alchemist, I think that's what we're going with. We're gonna decide soon. Are you happy with the Alchemist? Can you live with that?
I can live with that. No problem.
Can you live with it? Okay, we'll talk offline. We got to find out if he's upset about it or if he's happy. We'll work it out. Okay, we'll work it out. Okay. Okay, James, do you like the Alchemist?
I do. Yeah, I think it's a good one. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, cool. James, thanks for hanging. See you later. Okay, guys, so big week ahead. Crypto Summit on Friday, Trump announcement today, Trump announcement tomorrow. Who knows what this man is going to do? He pumped our bags on a weekend, a little bit sneaky. Let's see. Can the market hold? Bearish Monday often leads to a bullish week. Maybe that is playing out for us this week. So I'll be back tomorrow, obviously, as usual. Same time, same place. Catch you later.